Good afternoon, my people. What is going on? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I welcome each and every one of you to episode 178. It's Life Insurance Awareness Month, people. But before we get into today's content, I want to practice the attitude of gratitude and say thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you who are here with me as I stream live across the Wealth Our Way Facebook page and the Wealth Our Way Network YouTube page. If you have not taken the time to subscribe to the Wealth Our Way Network YouTube page, please get over to YouTube and do so today. I want to give the Wild Nation salute to the many members of Wild Nation who watch our content pre-recorded overnight, over the weekends, wherever they can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And then a heartfelt how are you to the good folks on the Life 101 platform who listen to the audio content of this very here program. I am in New York City, good people. Today is the 5th-year wedding anniversary for me and Mama. And you know, transparency of it is just in abundance on this program. So y'all know I be going through my nonsense with Mama, and half the time we cool, half the time we not. It's probably more of a 60-40 ratio. But in any event, love her as I do. Up here spoiling her in New York City, my favorite city on the planet. Last night we went and checked out the musical Chicago. We had dinner at the Strip House. I got some other surprises in store for her today. And, you know, just doing it big, how I like to do it on my timeline of life. With that being said, I am getting you guys content regardless of my social schedule because you are my people and I have to keep you educated and aware. And speaking of awareness, September is Liam, Life Insurance Awareness Month. We are doing a very, very special financial power hour tomorrow night with two high-powered young ladies who work in the field of insurance. I don't know if y'all noticed this yet, but you know, Big Tank has turned September into the bold and beautiful intellectual space for the beautiful women in the financial services and business industries. So every guest over we had Devin actually that was the end of August, but in my mind it was the beginning of September. So you know how I think. And then we have two young ladies this Wednesday, and then the last Wednesday of the month. I'm not even gonna let the cat out the bag, but we have a dynamic, phenomenal woman to close out September because yes, fellas, we out here in these streets. You know, we eat what we kill. We're the lions, but it's always the lionesses that make sure the pride is safe. So let's give shout out, salutes, and support to the beautiful women who make sure that the world keeps going around. With that being said, I want to talk to you all about life insurance, not just today, not just this week, but throughout the month of September. I will continue to share life insurance information because to me, it is the cornerstone of building a financial legacy for today and tomorrow. Life insurance was originally created in America to help widows and orphans. You know, back when this country was first founded, not only were people who looked like me as African Americans not able to do much, but also women were not able to do much. With that being said, you had your primary breadwinners being white males. And what would end up happening is when this white male died, the women, the children, the rest of society at large was left with a cavernous hole in its ability to continue going on in a prosperous fashion. So life insurance, which had actually been around for so long that it predates the American tax code, as we learned a few weeks ago with me on my boy, the Financial Rebel. Shout out to Kamari Ellis on his program. Life insurance has been around and predates America, but the actual tax code put the provision in it that all death benefit proceeds would pass completely income tax free. Now, it's very important because I deal with people of all types of financial levels. So a lot of times when we think tax, we stop at income tax. But there are other taxes, of course. We know about property taxes, sales tax. There are estate taxes. In our current financial tax code, the way things are going in America, the exemption, which is the amount that you can have before taxes come into play, is quite high. I want to say it's like $11 million and change. What does Big Tank always tell you about numbers on this program? If I say a number, you go to Google and fact check it, because I have way too much information in my mind to remember every number precisely. But I believe the exemption is like 11.125 million or 11.6 million. So a husband and wife can have like a $23 million exemption. Most Americans will never amass that type of wealth. So for most Americans, we stop thinking about estate taxes, at least right now. But do realize this: estate taxes always change. It depends on who is in power in the government, the Congress and the Senate and the president. They vote on these things. They change them all the time. They change the exemption levels. So right now, all we are seeing in America are taxes being talked about. They just said the IRS hired a slew of new agents to go after small business owners and go after all of this audit money. So do not think that the exemption that exists today will be the exemption that exists in the future. So whereas tax planning for using life insurance may not be as high on people's list as it used to be, I wouldn't be surprised to see the exemption go back down to like $1 million. And when you factor in your primary residence, right there, for a lot of people, now that takes about, I think, 40% of Americans up to the point where they will have an estate that is taxable. One of my favorite stories I like to tell about the importance of estate tax planning is football related. I love football. Joe Robbie, who used to own the Miami Dolphins. When I first got into financial services, I was concerned that I would not have anybody to talk to or quote unquote sell to, because the people who I knew, they didn't have enough money to need the financial services I was selling. And the people who had enough money, I assumed they had a whole team of people already helping them, and I wouldn't have an audience. I learned very quickly through this Joe Robbie statement that wasn't true. Joe Robbie was a billionaire, or at least 100 millionaire, who owned the Miami Dolphins, and he had built his empire on real estate and bought the Dolphins, and that grew to a large value. When he passed away, he had no estate plan. And he had no life insurance, or not a substantial amount of life insurance. And his children, in order to get his inheritance, they were facing like a $280 or $350 million tax bill to get the rest of their inheritance. And it was 2 girls and a boy, if I'm not mistaken. Not to say that women don't love sports as much as men, but there was an argument that ensued as to how to raise this money so that they could get their inheritance. And at the end of the day, they decided to sell the Miami Dolphins. That was what they liked the least of their dad's estate, so they could get their money. And they sold the Miami Dolphins to Wayne Huizenga, who was known for Waste Management, and CarMax were his 2 biggest business ventures at that time. And he owned the Miami Dolphins because the kids of the previous owner just wanted their money. So it taught me a lesson that estate planning is always important, and that people you think may have their affairs in order often don't have their affairs in order. So with that being said, why is life insurance important? Life insurance is important because it allows for planning to continue. So go figure that we'd be on a 15 Minutes of Finance program talking about planning. Well, you know, I'm a planner, so of course I'm going to talk about planning. And one of the things that I illustrate to new clients and people who I do one-on-one consultations with is we are trying to get from today to that day, which is your financial finish line. I'm making you a plan to get you from where you are to go to where you want to be. And I tell people, along that continuum from today to where you want to be, things can occur that will allow us to never get to that day. You could die, you could become disabled, or you could lose your income for other reasons. You could quit, things happen. Well, the third category, there's nothing we can do about that from Charles Harris's standpoint. But the first 2, death and disability, there's this thing called insurance that we can put in place that will make sure your plan carries on, even if these 2 hiccups or big roadblocks ever occur. So if we're trying to get to a number of $4 million, that's the number you want to accumulate by the time you are 70 and ready to retire. And you start with $300,000, and we're contributing to retirement plans and buying real estate and doing various things and growing your assets at 6, 7, 8, 9% a year. By the time you're 54, if you die of a sudden heart attack, we're not going to be able to continue on contributing this money to get you to age 70. And you have people who are counting on you, a spouse, children, grandchildren, other family members, business associates. I can put into place a product, life insurance, that says the day you come across this unexpected tragedy and you pass away, life insurance takes over and funds the rest of your plan. Simple and plain, that's what life insurance is for. Now, like anything else, there are creative people in this world. And when they saw the tax code and how it benefited life insurance's usage, especially when you have whole life insurance and the cash value inside of it will grow tax-free and can be accessed, intelligent people said to themselves, here's another way for me to use this product, not necessarily in a way that it was intended, but in an acceptable way, and benefit myself financially. Well, the same way people can find a way to kind of twist the product and make it work positively for their favor, bad actors can find a way to twist the product and make it work not so well for people. So you hear a lot of stories about people who have been burnt by insurance agents who have bought products that they shouldn't be in because someone told them it was a good idea when it was not. All the facts were not vetted out. And unfortunately, as I always tell you, it's buyer beware. If you as a consumer don't know as much as the salesperson talking to you, you can end up in one of those situations. For the vast majority of people in the sound of my voice, you need to have a proper term life insurance strategy to get you from point A to point B. Then if you start to make more money and you get higher on the continuum, you may want to have some type of cash value product, whether it's universal life or whole life. And I always am a fan of juvenile whole life policies for young children, preferably as soon as they come out the womb, because insurance is a discriminatory product. It costs more money the older you are and the less healthy you are. And most people will never be healthier or younger than right after they're born. So you can end up accumulating great amounts of cash value over the course of a life of an infant. And there's just all types of other social benefits to that as well, in my opinion. So with that being said, let me point out a story because, Tank's always got to take it weirdly. Insurance has morphed into not necessarily what it was always designed to be, into something better in some instances and worse in others. There are a lot of inventions that we know now that weren't what they turned out to be. You see, I'm getting up gray hair, long in the tooth. So I'm an older man. I have no problems with my yang, but some men do. And for those men, there are Viagra. This is not a Viagra commercial, but this is more so about telling you how Viagra was first created. Viagra was created by Pfizer Pharmaceutical, but it was not created for the use we know it to do now, which is to help men get right in the bedroom. It was actually invented as a heart disease fixture to prevent heart attacks, to get the proper blood flow through your ventricles. And what happened is every time they gave somebody this sample, their thing got right. And they realized that the blood flow wasn't just happening in the heart, it was happening down there as well. So they repurposed the drug, figured out some things, and Viagra got released as an erectile dysfunction drug. So sometimes what we start out to do isn't what we end up to do. There's also another interesting story about Oreos that are same way. I love Oreos. I'm a big dude. But Oreos were another invention that wasn't set out to quite be the Oreo and turned out to be. Maybe I'll tell that story another time. So with that being said, I'm going to go out and enjoy New York. I got some surprises for Mom of the Day. I want you guys to tune in tomorrow night because it is going to be an insurance education tomorrow night with these two young ladies. Look on the IG page, get all your background, get all your information, come ready to learn with your pen and your paper. And remember, good people, if I don't tell you every day, you forget. Wealth is not only